and it spit me out 10 reasons why being an introvert is an amazing thing.
You're listening to the Streamlined Success Show. I'm your host, Dagmar. In this podcast, we talk about how AI and automation can help busy coaches like you simplify their online businesses. We share practical advice that you can start using immediately. Today, we have a very special guest on the show, and this is Coena Snyder, who is a seasoned marketer and a fellow introvert. And Coena is navigating an exciting journey from the corporate world to entrepreneurship. And Coena is also the host of the Invisible Marketer podcast. And that is actually the reason why I'm here right now, because this podcast would never exist without Coena. So thank you for that. And welcome to the show, Coena.
Thank you so much, Dagmar. It is truly a pleasure. I really have loved having you inside that 30-day challenge and being able to be a part of this and watch your journey. But I also am just happy that I'm able to come on here and help inspire and share a message with your audience.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, I know AI is not that old yet. We all started in the near past, let's say that. So, how was your first encounter with AI? So, how did you first integrated AI into your business?
I think just discovering that it even existed, I didn't really use it in my business. I just thought this tool is so cool because I love tech and I love checking out new things like that. So when I first discovered it, it was more of helping me get clarity and being able to go through and figure out like what to say. As an introvert, I struggle with what to say constantly because I wasn't confident in myself and in what I could say out there and how to word it. And I've always had that communication issue where I never know how to word things. So ChatGPT has truly just been something that I've used to help me really generate ideas and get my creative juices flowing. So that's how I first started using AI, but it has evolved into so many different things.
Yeah, I know. So, talk about that. How did it evolve for you?
It went from figuring out what to say to really just researching my target audience, figuring out who they are, what their pain points are. Because a lot of times, if we don't have an audience, we really can't go out there and say, what are you struggling with? So with ChatGPT, it really helped me to dive deep into the problems that introverts face and go out there and try to find a solution for that. And so that is where I started going deeper into getting to know my ideal audience and what their strongest pain points were so that I could go out there and try to figure out a way for them to work more efficiently and to be able to overcome those pain points.
Yeah. So to help my audience to do this on their own, what did you do? So did you just go to ChatGPT and said, my audience are, let's say, introverts, and what is their biggest pain points? Or what did you do?
I have a whole like prompt list and it's more of a step by step. So you have to ask it this first, then you have to ask it this and this. So it's a whole session with ChatGPT where you're spending like maybe 15 to 20 minutes just putting these certain prompts in there. And then at the end, you develop an avatar of who your ideal audience is. And then from there, I just put custom instructions. And so anytime that I go in and I ask a question about what I'm doing with my podcast guest launchpad, I can just go in there and it already knows, it remembers it. So it will give me answers related to my ideal audience.
Yeah, so you can actually give this to ChatGPT and it remembers that so that you can build on this what you worked out there, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it will remember it. If you put it in custom instructions, it will also remember it. And also, when you're using ChatGPT, if you reference back to a previous thing that you had prompted it, then it will remember that as well.
So that is a great thing. And I know you also use this for your podcast, so helping you automate things that you have to do on every podcast. Can you talk about that too?
Yeah, for sure. So when I first started my first podcast back in 2019, I didn't have AI. So you had to generate a transcript. You had to pay extra just to be able to generate that transcript and chapter summaries. And you had to figure out a name and a description. And it just, for me, because of communication and because of just being so afraid of not saying the right thing and not being perfect, it took me forever to write things and get titles and things like that because I always wanted to be perfect. But since I started this past podcast and I've been using AI, I'm able to get show notes, my transcripts, a great description, and then I can tailor it to my voice. I'm able to just to generate titles, and I'm also able to really just put a chapter summary in there. So if people want to fast forward to a certain point in there, they don't have to listen to the whole thing, which of course I want them to listen to the whole thing, but I know that our time is valuable. So it helps to have that chapter summary in there. So that workflow of taking me probably a couple of hours just to generate all of this stuff has now been reduced to maybe 15 minutes. And it's so much easier. And then not only that, with podcasting, it can also help you generate your written posts, blog articles, quotes for like faceless reels and stuff like that. My content creation process has been drastically reduced. As before, I never really promoted it because I didn't know what to say. So now I'm actually able to create a campaign for every single podcast with the help of AI. Of course, I personalize it to me and my voice, but I'm able to actually use AI to be able to get the message out there about each individual episode.
Yeah, that is huge. Yes. I'm an introvert too, and I'm struggling with words too. I actually talked about that in another meeting today. So I'm the one that even if I'm on a party and having to do small talk, me would be, oh, nice weather today. And that was it because I wouldn't know what to talk about. And it's so nice having AI not to take over and tell you what to say or what to do, but to generate ideas. And you never have to start from a blank sheet, so to say. So you have something you can work with. And I love that.
Yeah.
Um,
Starting from a blank space, if you've got a blank piece of paper, like it could take me forever just to write something on that paper. But with ChatGPT, it's like it gets those ideas rolling in your head. Even if you don't use their ideas, it still makes you think. Like
yeah.
it just gets it, for me, it just gets it going to where I start thinking about what those are and just, yeah, I just love it.
Yes, yeah. So your audience are introverts, and as I said, I'm too. So how specifically could introverts have benefits through using AI other than that?
Yeah, there's so many. Besides with the podcasting, one of the first things that really I had a breakthrough on was I had so many limiting beliefs. I believed I had the fear of failure. I had the fear of no one would want to listen to me. And one day I went over to ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT, give me 10 reasons why being an introvert is a good thing. And it spit me out 10 reasons why being an introvert is an amazing thing. And from there, I went over to social media and I posted that, hey, being an introvert is a superpower. And it's basically saying it's okay to be an introvert. Let's embrace that we are that. And nobody felt the same way I did. Everybody's, no, it's not. So I went over, that's what really prompted me to go over to ChatGPT in the first place. But then I got 10 reasons why, because I was going to post content on it. These are 10 reasons why you being an introvert is perfectly okay. And you should embrace that because we are a group of elite people. We are so creative. We are deep thinkers. We form like relationships much easier when it's on a one-to-one thing, and it's deep relationships. So it's really something that I'm proud to be an introvert at this point, but it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't went over to ChatGPT and truly just dove into that and realized that, hey, it's okay. Don't use it as a crutch anymore.
Yeah, isn't that funny that tech needs to tell us how great we are?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Other than ChatGPT, are there other AI tools that you use actually?
Other than ChatGPT, I mean, I use softwares that have AI built in, like a phonic and Descript and things like that. I'm sorry. I use a phonic, Descript, and things like that, but I don't really want to go too much further into AI. Like, I definitely don't want to do the voice cloning and the people cloning and all of that. I really think that we need to be our authentic selves in our content.
Right.
So I haven't really dove deep into any very many more than that. I think ChatGPT has pretty much everything we need to get the ideas.
And it will develop further. So with time, so they learn every 3 months. I've just learned, I do an eye trainer training right now, and we learned about LLMs that are large language models last week, and they told us that they are feeded for 3 months, and then there's an upgrade with the new knowledge they have. We will have a lot of development there.
That's amazing. Now, forms of AI that we really don't think about usually is like the chat bots that
Yeah.
respond, like mini chat. That's
Mhm.
an AI that has been around forever. And scheduling your calendar through your phone or doing things like that, that's AI. I've used that. So there are so many different things, but it's just now being publicized, or it's being publicized more now that ChatGPT has come along.
Yeah, so I just got such a chatbot today from Colin Boyd. He's an expert on selling with stories. And that was interesting. I registered for a webinar with him, and then I got a text or a message saying, if you want to have reminders, please press start. And I did that, and he said, yeah, thank you. We are a step further on. But if you want to unlock more prices, I don't know, do this and this and that. And there were 3 or 4 steps in the whole process, and was really interesting. And I thought I have to have a deeper look at that because it's really engaging and getting people to work with you. And he doesn't have to do anything with it because it's
Yeah.
automated.
See, that's what I love because time is our most valuable asset. So
Yes.
if we can take some of these tasks that are so tedious and we can automate those, then that's going to save us time and we can focus on other stuff that needs our one-on-one attention.
Yeah, or maybe even to have time off and enjoy that with your family and loved ones. Do something for you.
Yeah,
So it's
for
not
sure.
all work. Yeah. Did you have any challenges when it came to AI? And if so, what solutions did you find?
The only really challenge was in the beginning because it would, every time I would go in there, it would be like I was talking to a stranger and it forgot everything. So, really knowing how to use AI is so key. Knowing how to put those custom instructions in there, use the same threads that you've used before if you're talking about a specific topic. Make custom threads on content creation, on idea generation, or whatever you're doing. Just make separate threads so that it doesn't forget if you don't have the pro version and things like that. That would be my biggest thing, is just it's not very helpful if you don't give it the information that to make it better and correct it if it's not. Keep prompting it and keep prompting it and train it in the beginning, and then you'll never have a problem with it. And also another tip is set a tone. If you're wanting to I always do casual tone. I don't like that professional tone, but
Mhm.
there's so many different little things that you can put in there to help it be more like you. And as you prompt it more, it's going to learn who you are and it's going to start talking like you.
Yeah, that's right. I had the problem in the beginning too. In the beginning, it all sounded as if a university professor is talking. So, oh, that's not me. And I tried the casual thing, but what happened then was that it started sounding like a 16-year-old and who's talking to his buddy, which was not the right sound either. So I needed some time to get it where I wanted to be. So it needs really training. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's fun to train it. So if you put in, say you have a website and you've gotten your about me's, you've gotten everything on it, you can actually put your website address into ChatGPT and it will go through there and it will read that information, input it into ChatGPT and just say, here's who I am. I need you to start talking more like me. Or things if you have a document that you've wrote or something you've wrote, feed it into there, because the more it knows about you, which is scary a little bit, but the more it knows about you, the more it's going to start sounding like you.
And that's important. And another thing, did you use it to increase engagement with your audience? And if so, what did you do?
The only thing that I've really ever used it for is coming up with ideas for that. So the more I post, the more that people engage, the more people see my content, and it has grown my reach on social media that way. But I've not really copied and pasted what it said on there. I've made and tweaked and did different things like that. I know that there are apps out there that you can use to be able to, like Engagement Monster, that you can use to be able to go and engage on other people's posts and things like that. And I know that can increase your engagement as well.
Hmm. Yeah. And regarding the human touch of it all, how much time does it need you to go over now about the things that ChatGPT created for you and make it your own? Do you have still a lot to do, or is it decreasing over time?
Usually I can sit down. What I try to do is I sit down once a week and I go through and I get an idea of what my content's going to be for the week. I know I've been slacking a little bit because of this launch, so I've took a break from social media for a couple of weeks. But what I was doing is I would go and I would try to at least do a week's worth of content. And that took me about an hour and a half on one day.
Hmm.
But before it would have took me for like a lot longer. So I feel like with all of the customizations and the things that I've put into it and trained ChatGPT on, it has helped me to come up with ideas very quickly. And they're really great ideas. And I can just tweak it and then schedule, pretty much put it in a calendar kind of thing, and schedule my post for the entire week. And I don't have to worry about it through the week.
Yeah. And do you think that the tweaking of the whole thing is now taking you less time than in the beginning, or is it still the same?
It's definitely taken less time. It
Mhm.
automatically knows who I am. I can
Yeah.
type in any thread, in a new thread, I can say, I want you to create a summary about me. And it is spot on. It
Mhm.
is so insightful on who I am. And that's without doing anything. That's without putting it in a thread I've already done or anything. So it really knows my ideal audience. Every time I say, what is a big pain point that I can talk about this week in my post, it will give me on a new thread the pain points and they are real and they're good pain points. So it really knows now, and I don't do any tweaking to it at all.
Cool.
It usually comes up with some really great ideas.
Yeah. So you think it's worth the time to train it?
Oh, for sure. It's definitely, I don't think, if you don't train it, you may not want to use it because it's not going to come up with very good ideas unless you put a little bit of time. And it doesn't have to be a lot of time. You just need a specific prompts and things and questions to go through to get it to where it's trained and it starts learning and things and using it every week. You stop using it, it's gonna forget you.
Like social media.
Exactly. Probably not as bad as social media, but
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you very much, Coena. Is there anything that we haven't covered today that you would like to share with our audience here?
I think that if you are struggling or have fears and you're an introvert like me and you don't know your superpowers and you don't know your strengths, or you know that you have things that you are passionate about and you love it, but you're just too scared to put yourself out there, ChatGPT can really help you gain confidence. And you can go to ChatGPT and you can ask it to give you 7 reasons why I don't need to have a fear of putting myself out there, or I don't need to fear that no one will listen to what I have to say. And it will give you 7 things that you can say every single day, and it will help build your confidence up. So I
Mhm.
feel like that if you are listening to this and you want to start getting out there on social media, but you're too scared to, use ChatGPT as a way to help you build confidence over a week, over a month. And I promise you that by the end of that, you will be going out there and posting because it will give you tons of confidence.
Oh, cool. Thank you for the tip. So, where can my audience learn more about you and your podcast Launchpad?
We have a free community on School. You can go to school.com/podcast launchpad, or you can also go to invisiblemarketer.com/community and come and join the community. I have an entire podcast launch toolkit that is a mini course on how to launch a podcast, and it gives you an actual toolkit that helps you plan out your entire launch and gives you a 30-day action steps to take to launch your podcast.
Yeah, I can highly recommend that. So, thank you so much, Karina. I really enjoyed talking to you and looking forward. We will definitely redo this one day. So, thank you.
Well, it's truly been a pleasure, and thank you for having me on here to talk about one of the things I love a lot, which is AI. I just love it. And I'm excited to be able to hear your other episodes and follow you along your podcast because I love this topic.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Streamline Success Show. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, and to get access to today's show notes, head over to community.marketingunraveled.com. See you on the next episode.